live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com. This is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
Thank you, John. Don't worry. Be happy. Oh, yeah. Nothing to worry about, folks. We're in good hands. Worries are over. Listen, if you were listening to Trudeau's throne speech yesterday, you know that our esteemed Prime Minister and his trusty Liberal miracle workers are going to chase all of our cares and woes away. So don't worry. Be happy. In the next few weeks, Trudeau and his championship team will tackle and cure, let me see, global warming, inflation, cost of living, the pandemic, goodbye, no more masks, East and West Coast flooding, that's gone. Families will once again feel free to spawn all kinds of children, dozens if you want, each of whom will get almost free daycare. There will be fresh water, jobs, wonderful new homes for every native person in the entire land. Warts will be banned. So too migraines. No more headaches. Appendicitis will disappear from the land. A free electric car for every driveway. Cows, well, they'll all be set free to roam about in the grass without the requirement of having to provide milk or beef or anything else. And as the bad boy ads often say, much, much more. And wonder of wonders. Yeah, one of the really wonderful things about all of this, God, I feel really, this is all going to be accomplished in the next few weeks. I mean, our MPs, they've only had, what, about 7 years off? Or is it 8 years? So, like I mean, no, but I mean, seriously, I mean, these guys are exhausted. So they're only going to have to go back to work for, what, 2-3 weeks? And then they'll have the much needed, much appreciated Christmas break. So all of this is going to be accomplished in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Everything.
Amazing.
From appendicitis to gonorrhea. Trudeau's going to be the god of gonorrhea or something. He's going to wipe it all. No more problems, folks.
That's going to be his legacy, the god of gonorrhea.
So laugh again, folks. You can laugh again. No more masks. No more jabs. Joy returns to the land. Let a smile be your umbrella. Walk on the sunny side of the street. Whistle while you work. Let a little whistle out of you there, John. There you go. Let the moon hit your eye like a big piece of pie. Que sera, sera, and what will be, will be. Well, what will be with Trudeau and his grand band with him? What will be peace in the land. Dancing in the streets. No need for 3 coins in the fountain. Hell no. We got Trudeau and his lovely little band of wand wavers in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Don't worry, joy to the world. Trudeau cares for us. Trudeau loves us. This I know, because the Liberals tell me so. Hallelujah, brother. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Joy to the world. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Dance me loose. What a lovely bunch of coconuts. Oh, my God. There stands me wife, the darling of me life, saying, oh, forget it. I mean, it's such a... I mean, it's a totally crazy world. I mean, it really is when you stop and think about it. And you know, here we have talking about crazy. Here we have a McGill University professor. He's a professor of chemistry at McGill, acknowledged as one of the top chemists in the entire country. He's had 2 government grants refused. Why? Because he says that he would hire based on merit only. Oh, no. you got to promise to hire on the basis of race or skin color. On 2 occasions, when asked, would you hire based on diversity, racial diversity, he said, no, I would hire based on merit. I want the best people for the job. Oh, you don't say that these days, folks. So he's got 2 government grants turned down. And the irony here is this guy is of Indian descent. He's the epitome of racial. I mean, what a crazy world, okay? Oh man, oh man, oh man. Tickle my fanny. And then, and there is Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden, I think a lot of Canadians thought, oh, thank God we got rid of this guy, Trump. We got Joe Biden, the Democrat good friend. We're all liberals up here. We're wonderful liberals, Democrats up in Canada, and Joe Biden is our friend. Some friend, right? So one of the first things, in fact, I think the first thing that Joe Biden did was stick the knife in our gullet and cancel the Keystone pipeline, which would have piped or made available millions of barrels of good old Canadian oil at reduced prices to the United States. So he shuts her down. So what happens? Well, geez, we're running out of gas and oil here in the United States. So does he appeal to us to ship? No. We're his friend and neighbor. No, he appeals to Russia. He goes to Russia and Saudi Arabia and says, please open the taps. We need more of your oil. When they don't do it, now he's released 50 million barrels of oil that is supposed to be held in reserve in the United States for emergencies. In the meantime, here we are up in Canada. We can't get rid of our oil. Our own environmentalists won't let us, and Joe Biden won't let us. Our own environmentalists prefer Saudi Arabian oil, Russian oil, Venezuelan oil to our own, and so does Joe Biden. Can you imagine? Here he is. I mean, we're the world's third largest, deposit of oil and gas. We wanted to build this. Well, in fact, we have some pipelines going into the States, but not nearly enough to provide what they need. So does he come to us and said, listen, you know what? Made a mistake. Let's open the Keystone. Let's get some more oil from you guys. You're our closest neighbor. Not only that, we got a hell of a discount when we buy oil from you. No, he turns to Russia. His good friend in Russia and Saudi Arabia and says, ship us more oil. We need more oil. The price, people, you see what's happened is that the price of gasoline is soaring. Now, it hasn't reached the astronomical heights of gasoline in this country. Well, that's because there's no carbon tax in the States. But I mean, for Americans, this is a lot of money to pay for gasoline, right? So Joe Biden's in a little bit of muck. People are kind of getting mad at sleepy old Joe, right? So Joe says to Russia, ship us more oil. He says to Saudi Arabia, ship us more. But they say, no, we're not going to ship anymore. So he releases 50 million barrels of his own oil, supposed to be held in reserve, in the hopes that this will lower the price of gasoline. You don't think that's crazy? I mean, the only thing crazier is the fact that we have the environmentalists and the Liberal Party and the freaking province of freaking Quebec that says, oh, we're not going to let Alberta oil through our land. No. We're going to buy our oil. We're going to have our oil shipped up the St. Lawrence River to, on top of all of those lovely beluga whales, okay? We're going to have our oil from Saudi Arabia. We prefer Russian oil. That's the only thing crazier than what Joe... You know what? The environmentalists and Joe Biden, what a hell of a team, right? Don't worry. Now, the only thing is that Trudeau, in all of his promises to get rid of everything, he didn't talk about getting rid of foreign oil. No, I didn't do that. What else have we got here? If anybody has any ideas on any of this, anything else that you think that Trudeau is going to solve in the next 2 or 3 weeks, these guys are real miracle workers. So happy. Be happy. I can't whistle anymore. I don't know what happened. When I was younger, I used to be a really good whistler. I could whistle. I could call birds with my whistles. I can do the wolf. You've heard me do the wolf.
I also have heard that.
Yeah, and I also do moose calls, but it's pretty obscene sounding.
Well, I mean,
so I'm not going. No, I'm not going to do the moose call. Not on no.
Private shows only.
But I used to be able to whistle, but I could sometimes get birds to respond. But I can't. I don't know what's happened. I can't whistle anymore. But you're doing a good job.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And then coming closer to home, When we're talking about coconuts, strange things, very strange phenomena with our city councilors. As far as I can determine, not one single one of them will tell us if they knew that there were serious problems with light rail before we accepted delivery. I've asked the question of several, no response. My good friend, I thought it was a friend of mine, Eli Alshantiri, I asked him, it was a very two simple questions. I said, Eli, did you know that you were being warned there were some serious problems? And if not, what are you doing about it? He refuses to get back to me. This is the first time. So very clearly, something very strange is going on. No, city, they can't. When you ask them this question, they disappear. They've gone into hidings. Gophers, the whole damn bunch of them are gophers down the gopher hole. Okay, so that question is still out there. Not that anybody cares anymore. Um, John, any texts or any response to any of this stuff coming in?
I mean, Mike says, bien la sacre bleu. Barry chimes in at 613-413-2217. He says, our new Governor General's throne speech sounded like it was written by the PMO. And he adds that 90% of the United States is owned by the Saudis, so Biden has to buy their oil so they can buy up the rest of the U.S. that they don't
Wait a
already
minute. Who
own.
said? Excuse me. Who said that the throne speech sounded like it was written by the PMO?
That was Barry.
Barry, it was written by the PMO.
No.
Who the hell do you think wrote it? Of course, it's the Governor General. But I mean, she reads this. This is the speech is written by the Prime Minister. Go ahead, please.
So can I just chime in here, because you're talking about you're not getting the city councilors responding to whether they knew or not. Well, I posted on your wall, and I posted it on my wall as well, a copy of the memo that it was sent to the mayor and members of council, chair, and members of the Transit Commission from General Manager, Transportation Services Department, July 31st, 2019. This is the memo where they say that he has concerns about the safety of the system, operations of the system, including end-to-end travel times and intervals between trains, maintenance activities, vehicle performance. I posted that. So how can they possibly say they didn't know? There's the memo right there, dated July. I'll put it.
Well, they're not saying they didn't know. They just aren't responding to the question. They've all gone into hiding here. At least that's my understanding. And sadly, and I think you have a comment on this. Hardly anybody is covering city council anymore. I mean, this is the council. These are the people that are closest to us, have a greater effect on our daily lives than any other level of government. And yet the media essentially ignores it. It would seem to me that there would be journalists other than me asking these city councilors, pressing them on this. Did you know? Did this not send up red flags of warning? But as far as I can see, nobody is asking those questions. And if they are, we're not getting any answers.
I can tell you first. Yeah, I can tell you firsthand, Lowell. Nobody is covering City Hall. Susan, what's her name? Susan Sharing from the Sun used to be all over City Hall.
Yep.
But I've had counselors, and I'm not going to name names, but I've had counselors, elected counselors at City Hall say to me, occasionally a camera shows up, they get a clip, and then they go home and they take that clip and they use it on the radio and they use it on TV, and that's about it. We never see them in here anymore.
Let me just say, yeah, very true. Let me just say this. As you know, millions of dollars in various kinds of grants have been handed out to virtually every level of the media these days. It would seem to me that if the government, any government, is going to hand out money to journalists, that one of the things that we should be assured of is that there is going to be strong, forceful coverage of local politics. In other words, local city councils, etc. Very clearly, that demand was never made. There's never been any requirement. We've got all kinds of journalists, so-called, flocking around Parliament Hill. I mean, everybody's got a microphone, it seems to me, up there, covering. I mean, we haven't had Parliament for what, 6-7 months now, and yet we have God knows how many journalists are up there, and yet we're hard pressed to get one journalist, one reporter into City Hall. I mean, why when the governments are handing out these grants, do they not insist that the people have the right to be informed about civic politics? To me, it's just, and once again, I don't think that question has ever been asked either. Sometimes I wonder, John, if I'm the only guy out there that's asking any of these questions, I don't know what's going on out there.
One of the first lessons you learn in college, and Hal Anthony was big on this too. Your friend Hal Anthony,
Yep.
lead, and I'm sure you were too. Lead local.
Well,
Every
yeah,
newscast, lead local if you can.
Actually, can I just tell you a little story about that?
Always.
I started in 1956 in radio, CKPC Brantford. They hired me as a legman. I had no idea what a legman was. I realized what it was, a guy that covered stories 24 hours a day for very little money. But I loved it. I fell in love with radio. But I had a news director there, Al Chandler. He was built like a fire plug. He was about 4'5" tall and about 7 feet wide. But he insisted that every single story, didn't matter what it was, had a local angle. And so he insisted. So thus, the newscast on CKPC while I was writing would be, firemen in Brantford are very worried. A major fire has broken out in downtown Vancouver, and Ottawa firemen are watching it very closely. And the next story would be, Ottawa police are watching very carefully. There has been a major bank robbery in downtown Montreal. So every story had the local angle. So I'm very familiar with that, believe me. But why we don't insist that we get better coverage of local politics, I don't know. This is where most of our money goes. As I say, this is the government that's closest to us. Word in here for our good friends at Shields. SCHEELS.ca. Here is a company that's been in business, same family, thank you, John, proudly serving Ottawa and the Valley since 1946. And I keep stressing the fact that this may be what many consider to be a smaller outfit, although they sell a lot of appliances. But they know their business, and their website is first rate. This is a New York website, believe me. Doesn't matter what question you have. If you click on appliance and you want a fridge and you have a certain dimensions that you need, you'll see it there. Capacity, whatever it is, that all of the answers will be there. Color, style, price, and savings. And at Shields, you'll be very surprised at the kind of money that you can save. They have a huge warehouse right there in Pakenham, one of the biggest buildings in Pakenham, which means, among other things, that in 99% of the time, they will have exactly what you want when you want it. No long delays. You're dealing locally. You're not shipping your money off to Brazil or Russia or China. You're leaving the money right here in the Ottawa Valley. Not a bad idea, right? Shields.ca. John, any more texts coming in here?
Absolutely. And we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, whatever platform you are watching on. You are welcome to post a comment where you would ordinarily post a comment, and we'll try and pop that up on the screen and read it to Lowell. And of course, if you're listening on blasttheradio.com, you can call or text 613-413-2217. Joshua's on Facebook. He's asking, can Trudeau resolve the problem of giving Canada a leader? Julie on Twitch. Oh, that's so shady. They are scared. The city should come out with the truth, or we will find out the truth. Peter says the City of Ottawa councillors likely cannot talk about pending legal action warned by city lawyers. Let me see.
No.
Robert says no. Okay. Robert says a common sense from Liberal governments at all levels. A serious question never answered with truth. Rick, are Biden's pleas to the Russians and Saudis a way of sidestepping the threats of bomber Suzuki? I bet City Council wouldn't know the Ottawa question on Jeopardy last night, or pretend they didn't, says Terry.
Oh, that was interesting.
Did you see that? That's right up your alley, Lowell. Yeah.
Yeah. The topic was world capitals.
Yep.
And the question was, I forget the exact wording.
I've got it right here for you. It says an annual event called Winterlude includes skating on the Rideau Canal, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in this city.
And nobody could get it. Well,
and Terry's bet is our city councilors couldn't get it either. But anyway.
Well, can I tell you something? Shouldn't surprise us. I mean, I'm sorry, but you ask the average American to name the capital city of the United States, and I think many of them would be hard pressed. You ever see there's a feature, a guy goes around to university campuses and he asks, I remember one of the questions that he asked was, in the Revolutionary War, against whom was the United States fighting. Not one single, these are university students, not one single student could get it. They said France, Spain, none of them knew that it was Britain, the English against whom they were fighting. There's one of the priceless ones I'll never forget. Once again, these are university students, okay? And the question was, Donald Trump's, this is when Trump was president, Donald Trump's son has been caught shooting woolly mammoths. Should he go to jail? And most of the people responded, yes, anybody that shoots woolly mammoths. And then the next, honest to God. And then he went on another university campus and he said, did you know that Donald Trump's nephew has been caught shooting saber-toothed tigers, an endangered species? Should they be allowed to do that? Oh no, anybody that shoots saber-toothed tigers should be put in jail. It was unbelievable. I mean, the lack of knowledge. Now, don't forget that one of my calling card questions for years on CFRA was, do you know where the St. Lawrence Seaway is? It's what, 30 miles away? It's the major transportation route in Canada, major transportation route in North America, and every time a university student would call me, I'd ask, none of them knew. So we better be careful. And you know what? If we ask that question about, capital city, and there's the Rideau Canal, etc., how many Canadians do you think would get it? Well, some would. Maybe if you lived in Ottawa.
That was just mentioned by Ann moments ago. She says, "Lowell, we are not much better." She's right.
Oh my goodness! And any more texts? I've got a couple more topics here.
Absolutely. David says municipal government supplies the water, plows the road, supplies electricity, and many other services to 24 Sussex Drive or the Cottage. Sadly, citizens give municipal government little credit for the services that they
Let me
provide.
give you an example. We haven't had Parliament sitting for what now? 5, 6, 7 months? Did it affect your daily lives?
Nope.
But if they stop plowing the roads one day, if they stop supplying fresh water one day, does that affect you?
Can you imagine what your Facebook feed would look like if they didn't plow your road for a couple of days?
Precisely. But that's the point I'm trying to make, okay? We got along without Parliament for 6, 7 months. Pas de problème. Well, no big problem. Price of steak went up to $28. But anyway, I think you understand my point here. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Just one final comment. We'll move on to your other subjects. But Julie says, yeah, ask my 2 university students in my house. They have no idea where the St. Lawrence Seaway is.
It never ceases to amaze me. I sometimes wonder. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of our young people, and my grandchildren among them, are very, very bright, and they have a lot of answers. They read, etc., etc. But the general population, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what the world are we teaching in our schools anymore.
It's basic things, right, Lowell? You know what? I opined, if I can just, as a side note, I opined on a radio news group. Why am I hearing newscaster after newscaster after newscaster always use a Ottawa police officer, a football team? Everything is a and everything is the, and I'm like, have we lost? And now they're defending it, saying, oh, language has moved on, John. You're just stuck in the past.
My wife Debbie is a grammarian. I think that's what you call them. She it drives her crazy because every time she'll come home, she's been out playing bridge or whatever. Did you hear what they had to say on CFRA or 1310 or whatever? And she'll give me an illustration of just terrible absolute grammar. And it's getting worse. I don't know if they're teaching grammar anymore in school.
They're not, and this is part of the conversation that I'm involved in when it comes to this. So I posted this, and I was never taught that in school. This is the first I'm hearing of it. These are college-educated, university-educated people now working in broadcasting who tell me they've never been taught that. That how often would you use a instead of in English? Very, very seldom.
Listen, talking about grammar, how about spelling? There was a beauty on Facebook yesterday. They have a little section where they sell items like, I don't know, small little items. Yep. So this item was a bowl. It was a plaster bowl or whatever it is. It was $15. And 4 different places in this bowl was spelled BOWEL. They were selling a bowel.
A bowel, yes.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, and you know what? And all sorts of comments.
Not interested in a
Not
bowel.
interested.
Thank you very much.
And all the different comments and so nobody picked up on it. You know,
I know.
she was offering a bowel for sale for $15. Anyway, just
and
fairly
and you know what they come back with? Oh, and I've had professional writers send me scripts to voice. And
yes.
and there misspelled whatever, and their answer is, "Oh, you know what I meant."
Another one that
no, I
another
don't.
one that I know another one that drives me crazy is the worst of two, like too many, and they're spelled T-O.
Absolutely.
People just anyway. John, I've almost.
We need an hour today, Lowell.
it must be our age. I've almost given up on this, but I'm going to give her one last try here. Okay.
All right.
They're telling us they're throwing up their hands at City Council. We're running out of space for dumps. They call it landfill. I love this, the euphemisms. Dumps. They're dumps, garbage dumps. Okay. So they're running out of land. They say in the next 10 or 11 years, there'll be no more space for garbage dumps in the city of Ottawa, to which I say, hooray, hooray. But apparently nobody on our city council has ever heard of the manner in which progressive cities, countries around the world have been dealing with garbage for decades. It's called high efficiency incineration. No odor, no emissions, wonderful. This is to me the ultimate in recycling. Recycle garbage into electricity. And even the most left-wing city of all in Canada, Vancouver, does this. Toronto's got two big incinerators as well, but not Ottawa. We've never heard of it here in Ottawa. So I was just thinking, I remember one time, and I really upset. Bob Chiarelli was the mayor, and they had a big roast for me, and I had a big sign up which I posted on the mayor's bumper sticker of his car. Ottawa, a great place for a dump.
Yes.
He was I've told this story before, but
yes, you have.
You know what? This is exactly what the city of Ottawa is saying. Well, we've got to dump our garbage in the middle of the city because that's what it is. I mean, the Carp Mountain, I dubbed it the Carp Mountain. That's in the middle of the city right now. There's houses built all around it now. So but apparently nobody in our city council has ever heard of incineration, which they've been using, as they say, in most progressive countries and cities for decades now, successfally.
Well, how long have they done that in rural Canada? They always burn their garbage.
Yeah, but this is different. But we're talking about.
I understand you're developing energy from it. I
absolutely, and there's no emissions from it. But so this is the model for the city of Ottawa, a great place for a dump. So the legacy of this city council is going to be two things: a multi-billion-dollar light rail system that doesn't work, and more dumps. What can you imagine? This is the legacy of this council. Let me see.
Could we interest them in a bowel?
Oh my goodness! What a legacy!
I like Peter's comment here. He says, "Burn the garbage. SNC needs to get involved. Then the city will get going on this."
I think that one of the problems was we got mixed up with Plasco, and Plasco, by the way, thank goodness didn't cost us any money. But Plasco is not high efficiency incineration. It was a highly experimental system that didn't work. Incineration has been working for literally decades in many countries. I've been in Sweden, and in Sweden, a number of the larger buildings, almost all of the government buildings, they burn their own garbage in their building. They have an incinerator in their own building and supply all of their own electricity in each individual building. No emissions whatsoever. I have said this time and time again. People will say, oh, well, we don't want an incinerator, all the smoke. There's none. It's unbelievable. If you drive on Highway 407, the pay for drive highway, just north of Toronto, you go by a very large, high efficiency incinerator, and you don't even know it. I'll say this again. In Vienna, deemed to be one of the most livable, beautiful cities in the world, one of the major tourist attractions is the huge, high efficiency incinerator. It's a work of art. No emissions. Powers about 1/3 of the city of Vienna. But in Ottawa, oh no. we got a dumper on the ground. Thank you all, folks. Thank you. My wife has just returned from shopping. She wasn't the least bit cranky from the shot. No reaction from the shot at all. But I think after seeing the bill for the shopping, well, we'll see how cranky she is now. Thank you.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.